Okay, Alan, I have a little demonstration video here to show you regarding this high voltage servo reverser with trim pot that you were having difficulty with. As I understood what we discussed, you could only get it to recognize one position or maybe two positions. The first thing I did when I got it was to attach it directly to my servo tester, and I was able to move the servos back and forth through the entire range of motion. But I wanted to try to, just to be sure, I wanted to reproduce exactly the difficulty you said you were having. So what I've done, I've got my Futaba 9-channel transmitter. This is my receiver. This is your servo reverser with trim pot, and I got a couple of servos here. Now what I've done is I have programmed a couple of mixes, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up just so that you can see how I do it. I don't know how you are doing the mixes on your radio, but what you want to do in order to have multiple flap positions is you want to make the master offset, and you want to make the slave the flap channel. Okay, and you'll need, if you've got two different flap positions, you'll need two different mixes. This mix, you'll see that offset is the master, flap is the slave, and I have this one at 50%. Okay, and then you will need to assign a switch. I'm using this 3-position switch up here on the corner. It's position E, it's switch E on my transmitter. It may be different on yours. And I'm using the center position for the 50% and the down position for 100%. So you'll need a 3-position switch so that you have no flaps, then takeoff flaps, and landing flaps. Now your percentages may be different, and that's okay. But again, what you want to do is offset is the master, flap is the slave. Then you dial in the percentage. Now for takeoff flaps, you may only want 10 or 15%. Takeoff flaps don't need to be much. I've done 50% just so you can see that the servos are moving correctly. And then pick the switch. You'll need to let one position have no mix at all, and then have the center position turn on one of the mixes. And now I'm going to go up here to mix number 4, and you'll see that I have the same setup. Offset is the master, flap is the slave, and on this one I have 100%. And again, this is switch E, and it's in the down position. So now let's watch the servos. The switch right now is in the off position. This would be with the flaps all the way up in the stowed position. Now I'm going to flip the switch to the center position, and you'll see that the servos move to the 50% position. And now I'm going to flip it to the next position, and you'll see that they move to the 100%. So this is off, flaps up. This would be like takeoff flaps, and this would be landing flaps. So it's, you know, the reverser is working beautifully. It's working exactly as it should. I believe that the problem you're having is in the programming in your transmitter, and I'll be glad to help you with that in any way I can. I may have to find out from you exactly what transmitter you're using in order to know exactly what your menus and things are going to look like. But that is basically the way it's done in a Futaba transmitter. Your screens may look a little different, but that's the concept. So I'm going to post this to YouTube and give you a call, send you the link by email so that you can see it, and so that you can be convinced that it's working okay. By the way, I'm going to adjust the centering here on this one. So I think you may have already determined that was working, because I see there's a little mark on the pot there that looks like you may have made yourself a reference mark. But I'm going to post this to YouTube so you can see it and be convinced that everything's working okay, and I'll get it on the way back to you probably tomorrow. Thanks, Alan.